to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here, or walk out, put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Ho, ho, ho.
Good morning, Memphis and the Mid-South. You're listening to Straight Down the Line with Charlotte and Charles.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
And now, here's Charlotte and Charles. And welcome, Memphis and the Mid-South, straight down the line with Charlotte and Charles, the real straight talk coming at you this morning. Good morning, Memphis. Happy Saturday. Hope you're having a dynamic day. I'm your host, Charles Johnson, with my lovely co-host, Charlotte Bergmann.
Good morning, Memphis. Listen, I woke up this morning. It was kind of crisp outside. I think fall is making its presence in Memphis. What do you think, Charles?
I think so. I think it's almost time to fall back.
My toes are cold.
Boy, do we have a show for you today. Lots going on, lots to get into. Charlotte put a poll up on the Facebook page, and she's going to tell us about that poll. And then she's going to say a little bit about our special in-studio guest we have today. And then we'll have a little word from a live read of Herbie Systems.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad that you chose to join us. I'm really excited. This show is going to be one of the best shows that you've heard in quite some time. I have put a poll out on Facebook, and I hope that you will respond. Basically, the question is this: what's more important, Obamacare or a fully funded government? That's what's more important. Do you think Obamacare is more important than a fully funded government? And if you think Obamacare is worth shutting down our government, call in and let us know. If you do not think it's worth it, call us and let us know that. But listen, we need to hear from you guys in the community so that others will know what is important and what's on your mind. Things are going to happen as they're going to happen anyway, but I want to know your opinion because, you know, you need good representation in this community. And in order to get good representation, our congressman needs to know how you feel about what is occurring in this community. So call us at 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. And in the studio this morning, we have one of our favorite sons, Ulysses Jones the third. Hi, Ulysses.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good morning, brother. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I tell you what, Ulysses Jones the third, and I'm the third of my name also. Joining us in studio today. We got a lot to get to, ladies and gentlemen. And before we do, I want to say a quick word for our sponsor for the hour, Ulysses Systems, and their president, owner, Kenny Crenshaw. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen Kenny Crenshaw on those billboards holding those weeds and giving them the mean mug saying, let me kill your weeds. You want to let Kenny kill your weeds. Ulysses Systems, they are experts, ladies and gentlemen, in lawn and landscape care. They do residential, they do industrial, and the best part, they have free estimates. So you can compare. Kenny's prices are going to be competitive with anything that you can find. They also offer an irrigation system service that they began offering in February of this year. Do you want a thicker, healthier lawn? Are you tired of the nonstop war against weeds? Or do you need tips for turf grass maintenance? Give Kenny a call at 901-382-LAWN. That's 901-382-5296. Give Kenny a call and let him kill your weeds.
That's right. Listen, thank you for joining us. Listen, I want you to go and pick up those telephones and call us at 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. Ulysses, appreciate you joining us. What's going on, Ulysses?
Excuse me. I'm just glad to be here. And I did want to come by and tell people about, the event that you had last week with the meet and greet for C.L. Bryant. For those who don't know, C.L. Bryant is the writer, director, and star of Runaway Slave, documentary that came out last year. Mm-hmm. And the impact that the movie is having was phenomenal. So in order to go in and meet C.L. Bryant, that was a great treat. Also to really meet him and to talk to him. I mean, I myself, I stood there and talked to him for about 15 or 20 minutes.
Wow.
And this is not somebody, who's full of himself, who's stuck up. He stood there and he talked to people, and it was great just to kind of pick his brain about the way that he sees things.
Yes, exactly. It's interesting. The movie's title, Runaway Slave, there are so many people who do not understand the dynamics behind that. As I was going through the guard shack, a gentleman said, "Runaway slave? What do you mean by that?" And when I began to explain to him that it's not slavery like our forefathers were back in 1860s and before, but it was more like freedom of the mind and freedom in terms of prosperity, understanding that our lives can be better as a result of us taking responsibility for our lives and helping ourselves to live a more prosperous life. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a great many people who, oftentimes the quote by Booker T. Washington comes to mind that there's a certain class of people who seek to constantly keep the grievances of the Negro before him.
Right.
That they don't want the patient to get better.
Right, because they'll lose their jobs.
Yeah, they will lose their jobs.
Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, listen to this guy.
And it's not only them. There are a myriad. There are national radio talk show hosts who this is their bread and butter.
Right.
They constantly keep this thing kicked up about they're out to get you or they're disrespecting you because you're black and all this stuff. And a lot of that is just not true. Mm-hmm. I mean, we live in a country that elected a black man as president. Mind you, the party that has done more to keep black people in slavery and held behind elected the first black president. There is, and the point is made in the movie. He asked people that were actually at an event that you would have thought had a different mindset. He asked them, "Is there anything that you think that your race holds you back from doing in this country?" And they said no.
Right.
And that fact, it gets said, but then again, it gets dismissed.
Yes.
Right.
And the movie brings out the fact that there is a reason why people have this mindset, and it goes through that. I think I talked to Charles one time, and I said the illustration sticks out in my head of a group of people who, were dressed like slaves were dressed, standing in the middle of a field, hollering about how they need to get their rights and they need to raise up and they need to get masters' feet off their neck and they can rise and they can be a great people. And then off in the distance, you see a house where quote unquote master is sitting on the porch drinking lemonade with a friend, and the friend leans over and he goes, "Who are those people?" And master goes, "Those are the slaves. We set them free years ago, but they won't leave the plantation."
Ooh.
Right, exactly.
We have a phone call, do we?
Right. We do, and we're going to get to our phone call now. Caller, you are on with Charlotte, Charles, and Ulysses.
Hello?
Hello, how you doing?
Yes, this is Miss Charlotte Johnson. I was at James Murder's conference.
Whoa, turn your radio down for me there. Turn your radio down.
It's off.
Okay, thank you. We're getting a little feedback.
And so we was at the James Murder's conference. First time I had met him, he told about he was the first black to get into college in Mississippi. And he was 200 or 300 people there sharing and listening to it, and we taking pictures with him and everything.
Yeah.
And we was with Martin Luther King and all of this. But the most important thing that I got out of that was Isaiah 1:19-20. That's what I wanted to share today. But I'm so thankful I got a chance to meet James Meredith this week. I heard so much about him. So
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for calling.
Appreciate that call, caller. Of course, referencing James Meredith, who broke the color barrier at the University of Mississippi. Had a statue dedicated to him not too long ago, and so we are a generation, and it's really we are a generation and a half removed from that time. And when you look at all of the progress that has been made as far as black people in America. And the price has been paid. As I often say, I do a political commentary on Fox 13 News at 10 o'clock. I debate with Judge D. Army Bailey and a few other liberal guys. And as I frequently make the point, because the judge was a civil rights activist, and so as I frequently make the point to him, the price has been paid. Why are we treating it as if the price has not been paid? Why are we treating it as if it was not a victory? The civil rights movement was a victory. They fought and paid the price so that we could move on. So why do we still have to, every opportunity we get, open up those old wounds and try to capitalize on those old grievances? Why can't we move on? Why can't we treat the civil rights movement like it was a victory instead of an ongoing fight? Because it's not an ongoing fight.
Well, the judge and his family are an example of the fact that we can rise up and we can rise above those limitations that we were forced to live under before.
I tell him that.
Exactly.
I tell him that. He went to Yale Law School.
And we're proud of him.
He was like 3 blacks in the whole class? I mean, it was like him and 2 other black people? I mean, he's the only black person sitting in most of his classes.
But what he can do is be a mentor for those that are coming up behind him and helping them to understand you don't have to sit back and depend upon the government to be enslaved to the government. You, too, can do exactly what the judge did.
And it's kind of hard because you kind of can't get people to see that if you're able to do it on your own, then do it on your own. You don't need the government to solve it for you. You don't need to run to the government, because once somebody has that power over you to be able to decide when you eat, how much you have to eat, when you can use your electricity, they run you. You are at their whim.
And it's in their interest to keep you there. You see what I'm saying? When you start down that road, it's in the interest of the gatekeepers, so to speak, to keep you on that road, because they depend on you being in place for their power. That's where they derive their power from. Once people wake up and it's like, I don't need your policy. I don't need you. Why should I even vote for you when the policies that you advocate are working against my success? That's when people wake up and realize we don't need you, and that's when they won't have a job.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's kind of like having shell shock syndrome? People that were in Nam and they come back and 10, 15, 20 years later
still fighting the war.
Yeah,
they're
still fighting the war.
Right. In their head, they're still fighting the war. And there is some of that that is going on. In their head, they're still fighting the war instead of realizing and recognizing that it's peacetime now. You don't have any excuses. You can do anything you want to do in this country. The only hindrance is you. It's the man or woman in the mirror that you see, and you say, what can I do to make my situation better? And this is the way that they don't think. The way that a lot of people think is, what can this person do to make my situation better? What can Barack Obama do? And I, of course, go back to the lady in South Carolina when Obama was running for office the first time. I played her clip I don't know how many times on my old radio show on us. Where is she today?
Where is she today?
I don't have to worry about putting gas in my
car and everything.
I don't have to worry about paying my mortgage. I don't have to worry about putting gas in my car no more. I know that if I'm there for him, he'll be there for me.
Well, you mentioned something earlier, and I think it's important that we bring up the fact that CL is not finished with Memphis.
Oh, no, he's not.
CL is going to come back to Memphis to conduct his Content of Character tour. What that means is we want to emphasize character and not necessarily skin color in order to help people to understand that they're free and that the limitations are not based upon skin color, but more so based upon how we act, how we wear our pants, how we dress, how our attitude is towards someone that may offend you. Secondly, he is also coming back to Memphis to complete he's got a new movie coming out. And the new movie is called Red, White, and Black. I'd like to see what's going on.
You know what? The title already has me tingling over here. Red, White, and Black.
Yes.
I know that's right.
So, Memphis, get ready for C.L. Bryant, because, see, we've been held back. That wound has been picked at, and it hasn't been allowed to heal. It's time for a healing to occur in Memphis so that people can stop running from Memphis and run toward Memphis, because we've got a lot to offer in Memphis. I love Memphis.
Right, and I was talking to a good friend of mine, really my best friend, and he's a doctor of electrical engineering, and he living in Birmingham, Alabama, and I've been trying to get him to come to Memphis just because I miss my friends so much, and you know we did ministry together, and I try to sell him on coming to Memphis and how many more opportunities, jobs that, you know, Memphis offers versus what Birmingham, Alabama offers. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to get my friend up here, and he said, man, look. I said, man, if no other reason you come up here for the barbecue, he said, brother, I'm going to tell you like this, man. Because of what he sees on Memphis on the news, first 48, murder rate. You know, he says, look, brother, he said, I will become a vegetarian before I move to Memphis. And you know, he can have so much to offer Memphis, but it's just a matter of the reputation that Memphis has, the divisiveness in the government, you know, the bloated tax rate, the chaos with the school system, because, you know, he and his wife are starting a family or want to start a family, and the chaos with the school system that's going on, and it's just all over the nation. The word is bad.
I love me some Memphis, and I also love me some people who's going to call in to our station to answer that question. What is more important, Obamacare or a fully funded government? So call us at 901-260-5926. 901-260-5926. We want to hear from you.
And Charlotte, I'm glad you put that poll question up. What's more important, Obamacare or a fully funded government? You know, all this horror going on about the government shutting down. Oh, government shut down, government shut down. And I'm like, is that necessarily a bad thing if the government shuts down?
The government shut down today.
Yeah, I mean.
The government shuts down every week at 5 o'clock.
That's what I'm saying.
What
is this apocalypse, this cataclysm that people are like, oh, if the government shuts down, the Republicans going to shut down the government. What's the big deal?
Well, it's not Republican. That's why people need to understand. We've got 3 branches of government that we're dealing with. And the Little League, the smallest group, are being blamed for everything. What about the Senate? And what about the White House? Come on, people, use some common sense.
Well, but you know, this is the way that they think about it. And this is because I blame the public education system and just the travesty of civics being taught, because so many people don't even understand basic civics. They think, oh, the Democrats control the presidency and the Democrats control the Senate. So that's what, 2/3. So they think that they should pretty much be able to do what they want to do because they got 2/3 and y'all only got 1/3. People don't understand that it doesn't matter who controls what part of the government. The Constitution lays out specific responsibilities of each branch, and the lower house of the Congress, which is the United States House of Representatives, all spending bills must originate in the House of Representatives. Why? Because that is the part of the federal government that's closest to the people. So that's why if you're going to spend the people's money, it's got to originate. So therefore, they have discretion over what's going to be spent on what and where. They have the discretion.
They have the original discretion, but it still has to go through the normal process. And I'll tell you what, it is the people who have made their views and their concerns known to the Congress. Boehner was certainly against this effort, passing the bill yesterday, but he heard from the people.
Yeah, well, I mean, the people, look, this bill has never been, this Obamacare, it has never been popular with the American people. And I think the most generous poll I could find, I wanted to find the most generous numbers I could find on this. I found a CNN poll that said 52% of Americans oppose it. And that's the lowest number I could find.
Well, it seems like the more people find out about it, the more people that say, we don't want this.
Well, of course, because when you dig into it, just like Nancy Pelosi said, you have to pass the bill before we can find out what is in it. I mean, this is just,
That's Botox talk.
And of course, that sounds so dumb, of course. But, we have so many politicians that make so many dumb statements. It's just an embarrassment. And I'm going to say this. I know we're talking about Obamacare, but I want to just do a little segue. Dumb things that politicians say that just make us ashamed that they represent us. Representative Steve Cohen. I had to bring it up. I had to bring it up.
Which one are you going to talk about?
I'm talking about just dumb.
Pick one.
I mean, dumb. The whole deal with the Navy Yard shooting in the AR-15, which wasn't even used, false reports. And he couldn't wait to get on the television. The dog got the AR-15, and we need more gun control. Man. And you just sound like an idiot because the reporting was false.
He couldn't face Bill O'Reilly, though.
Of course he couldn't. O'Reilly put a clip of him making the dumb thing, the dumb statements that he said. And, of course, invite Congressman Cohen to come on. Congressman Cohen is not going to ever go into a venue where he's going to be challenged. He'll go talk on the Young Turks, or, as I like to call it, the Young Jerks. He'll go on their show because they're going to be friendly to him, and he can talk about how the AR-15 is of the devil and, the Tea Party is the Ku Klux Klan. He can make all these dumb statements because they're not going to challenge him. He will never go into an arena where he will be asked a challenging question. Why? Because he is a coward, and I think personally, he just says a lot of dumb things. He's just an embarrassment to the
He wouldn't even debate.
Well,
of course he won't debate.
When it came to the elections, he wouldn't even debate.
Well, why? Well, he wouldn't debate. He says, I got this political advantage according to what my analysts are telling me, so it's not in my interest to debate. And that's the way that these politicians think. Mm-hmm. They think I don't have to debate my opponent because I got this big lead, and if I go into this debate, I might lose some of my lead. And this is where you got a politician versus a statesman who actually cares about the issues and wants to go out and engage opposing points of view. People that are not cowards, right? That want their views challenged because they believe that they can articulate their views and make a persuasive case. You see, what you have with Steve Cohen is none of that. Steve Cohen doesn't want to make a persuasive case. He just wants to lean on the fact that, they've been sending him back. They're going to send him back again, and that's what he's counting on.
Well, it's talking points and it's incendiary phrases and sound bites that are thrown out there instead of actually having a conversation about the issues, about the ideals, about your stances on things.
He doesn't want to have a conversation. He wants to pontificate. He wants to pontificate, and he wants to hide behind his campaign. Steve don't want to come out and play. He don't want to go on O'Reilly Factor and defend the dumb statements that he makes. He won't even issue an apology, even though the reports about the AR-15 in the Navy Yard were false. Well, he never used there was no AR-15 present.
There was no AR-15 in the Navy Yard. There wasn't one used in Colorado at the movie theater.
Right.
There wasn't one used even in the town where the kids got killed. He used a 9mm. He used two 9mm when doing that. But it's this whole thing about being able to move the control back from the people. Right. And if you're going to look at anybody who may have said something politically, what about Joe Biden, who said if there's anything wrong, just go outside. You don't need an AR.
We have it in the intro. we have it in the intro of this show. Yeah. You go out and you just give 2 blasts. You just get 2 blasts from that shotgun.
Well, guys.
What a dummy.
Well, guys, let me just bring it back home to Steve, because Steve lives in the Bible Belt. He represents the Bible Belt people, yet he spoke about people's affinity to their guns and the Bible.
Of course. And of course, wanting to be like, the idol he worships up in D.C., Barack Obama, who made the statement about people in rural Pennsylvania clinging to their bitter gun clingers, right? They're bitter, and they cling to their guns and their religion. because basically they got a problem with people that are different from them. So basically saying that they're a bunch of racist, bitter gun clingers. And, of course, Steve Cohen, you know, he wants to be like his idol, Barack Obama, that he worships. And so he comes out with basically the same statement talking about us, and he really tries to point out a point of hypocrisy in his opinion, because they got their Bibles on one hand and then they got the guns in the other hand, not even realizing that the two go hand in hand. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. This is what I say. But
Jesus
look, Cohen
said a well-armed man is able to defend his house.
Put on
exactly.
A well-armed man is able to defend his house.
But I got something better. And see, this is why Steve Cohen is ignorant. Steve Cohen is ignorant. He don't know, and I would love just to debate Steve Cohen about the Bible, just all the myths that he probably don't even believe in the Bible. You know, a lot of these politicians, you know, they use the Bible as really just a shield, like they cloak themselves. You know, they put on a religious coat, but really, inwardly, it's not even in them. But anyway, Jesus made a statement when he was going to Jerusalem for the last time, and he was talking to his preachers. And he told them, this in Luke the 22nd chapter, you can go look it up. And Jesus told his preachers that, do you remember when I sent you out the first time? And then we're going to get ready to go to break. He said, you remember when I sent you out the first time, I told you don't take anything for your journal, no purse, no script, no this, that. And then he said, but this time, he said, the time has come now that if you lack a sword, let him go out and buy one.
Go ahead on, preacher.
Yeah, that's what he said. Go buy a sword. And then his preachers replied to him and said, Lord, we have 2 swords. And the Lord said, it's enough. Watch out now. I bet Steve Cohen didn't know that was in the Bible. No, because Steve Cohen is ignorant. And he makes a lot of dumb statements out of his ignorance. And he refuses to go into any venue that would challenge him because he has no reply, because he's just a drive-by sniper and he wants to just be gone. He won't stay and fight. Anyway, we go on to break. I got off on that, but that's just because that just got my goat when he made that dumb statement about guns in the Bible. Just put me in the angry chair. So I had to get him. I had to put my mouth on him.
We still want to hear from you. Call us at 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926 for the Charlotte and Charles Show. Straight down the line. And don't forget, Ulysses is in the studio with us. We want to hear from you.
Be right back.
Okay. Money. It's a gas. Grab that cash with both hands and make a stash.
I love you, Mom, but I need help.
If your loved one is experiencing dementia, Alzheimer's, or debilitating arthritis and need extra care assistance, call Angelic Visits and Prestige Care Home at 901-388-6903 or 901-281-8292. They render services with love. Give Angelic Visits and Prestige Care Home a call today.
Check us out on the web at angelicvisits.com.
Everyone knows Patrick's has great made-from-scratch home cooking, but when was the last time you thought of Patrick's for dinner?
Whether it's the fresh North Atlantic salmon grilled to order, the hickory-smoked apple bourbon pork tenderloin, or the rich and creamy blackened chicken pasta, Patrick's is sure to have something for everyone in your family. Every Friday and Saturday night, they slow roast choice prime rib. Their simple recipe uses quality beef, aged in-house, and yields a succulent treat you won't find anywhere else. Don't wait. Come early before it runs out. Patrick's caters, too. Having an office party, teacher appreciation day, or business luncheon? Let Patrick's do all the work and you take the credit. We'll deliver parties of 20 or more, or you can pick it up. Choose from party platters to our fabulous meats and veggies, and we'll have it hot and ready. Don't see what you want on our menu? Just ask. We cater to almost any need, from weddings and rehearsal dinners to birthday parties and business functions. Check out our menu at patricksmemphis.com or stop by 4972 Park Avenue. Park at Mount Moriah.
Patrick's, where great home cooking is just the beginning.
We don't know much about St. Augustine grass in Florida, or Kentucky bluegrass up here in the north. But we know all about Memphis grasses, Bermuda, fescue, and zoysia. And the weeds that infest them. We know every weed and how to kill them. Because Herbie Systems has been doing exactly that for over 25 years in Memphis.
Want the real Memphis experts to kill your weeds? Call Herbie Systems at 382-LAWN.
Let me kill your weeds.
Has your mortgage company denied your request for help? Are you getting foreclosure notices, legal notices threatening to garnish your paycheck? I relocated my family to Memphis following Hurricane Katrina. I personally know the devastating effects financial problems can have on you and your family. The hopelessness of not knowing where to turn, the feeling there's no way out. My name is Brett Bernard, managing partner of RMC. I want you to know you have options and there is hope. We've helped many people just like you avoid foreclosure, garnishments, and deficiency judgments through loss mitigation. I know what you're going through, and I want you to know you're not alone. We can find a solution. Call me today, 901-591-1144, or visit us on the web at www.rmchelp.com.
Call RMC Managing Partner Brett Bernard at 901-591-1144.
Hey, this is Angela from Rizzi's, family-owned Italian restaurant operated for 16 years, located in Arlington, Tennessee. We brought in executive chef Nick from New York to create us a new Italian menu. We also have a big patio with a fabulous bar. Mondays we have kids eat free. Thursdays we have all-you-can-eat crawfish, crab legs, and shrimp. Fridays we have karaoke. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Come out and join us at Rizzi's tonight.
Hey, this is Chef Nick. I'm personally going to invite you to come in and ask for me, and I will make sure you receive a free Italian homemade dessert. Mention the radio station and ask for me, and I'll take care of you, like family.
Rizzi's, located at 6230 Greenlee Street, Arlington, Tennessee, 901-867-7750. Come out and check us out at Rizzi's.
Ciao.
Help, I need somebody. Help, not just anybody. Help, you know I need someone. So much younger than today. I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone and I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind and open up the doors. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down.
Help me if you can. I tell you what, that's what people cry out to Uncle Sam. Help me, Uncle Sam. Help me, Obama. Oh, help me, Steve Cohen. We need to redistribute some of this money that these rich folks have, and you need to send me a check. Straight down the line with Charlotte and Charles. Look, we just keep it real here. That's what you know, when you get people on the government dole, that's what they get used to, and then that's what they want, and that's what they expect. Give us a call, ladies and gentlemen, 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. 5926. And there was a spectacular meet and greet on last week. And before we get back to Obamacare, because I got a message from a young lady who's a good friend of mine, and she sent me a message. I'm not going to call her name, but I do want to read a little bit of what she had to say, because she had a political transformation. Amen. And her eyes were open to some things. She's a black sister. And she was just open up to a lot of the truths that the conservative movement stands for. And I wanted to share a little bit with you about that, because eyes are opening.
I've told you, a lot of us are already out there. We've just been in the closet. Right.
We just been in the closet. We need something happens where we hit a crossroads and that light switch flips. And now the lights are on. And now I'm like, okay, I see what the game is. Because it is a game. And we're going to get into that. Ulysses has a very interesting article that we want him to cover. But I want to, because I wasn't able to make it to the event, regretfully, had a lot of family stuff going on. But, and ladies and gentlemen, you want to join the conversation, 901-260-5926. But I want you all to talk about that spectacular meet and greet with C.L. Bryant.
I mean, it was a very nice crowd. There were a lot of people there. You have a lot of people who are in local politics that were there. You have a lot of people who were up and comers and people who were seeking to get there, and it was a good mix of people. Exactly. People who just care about the state of things that are going on, and people who were in a position to make a change, and people who a lot of them had their eyes open. And I do implore you, if you have not seen Runaway Slave, if you haven't seen this movie, you need to see it. You really do. because a lot of the feelings and a lot of the thinking of people comes from a skewed view of history that's incorrect, and CL brings that out in the movie. But just to be there and to hear what people had to say about the movie. I mean, you're talking about people from the city council. You're talking about mayoral candidates. You're talking about people who were in local business around Memphis. They were all there, and a lot of them have had, and it's just like Charles was talking about earlier. There was a point in time in my life where I told that line. You know, the Democrats said this, and, I was going along with it. And in my early to mid-20s, I kind of started to see that this thing doesn't quite match up with the way that I live my life.
It doesn't. Right.
Not only that, it didn't match up with the way that I saw other people that live their life. I mean, you can't tell me to go out and to stand on my own 2 feet, and, to make a way for myself, and then turn around and tell me that welfare is the best thing for people. I had a sequence where I worked for the county as a property assessor, and I would go out and I would go to neighborhoods and I would actually end up talking to people. Then I worked for juvenile court. You get to see more behind the scenes.
Oh yeah,
and then
you really have seen it working in juvenile court.
And
yes,
then I was a firefighter and an EMT for 8.5 years, and you really get into the psyche of people. And there were at least 2 occasions that I remember that really blew me away. One was being in the ambulance riding with a young lady who was about to go into her senior year in high school. Her mother was in the back, and she said, "Well, I guess I'm gonna get out of high school and get on welfare and have me some babies." And she actually said, and I was just kind of looking. I said, "Is that all you're gonna do with your life?"
Lord have mercy.
And then I had a man who actually told me that I've been poor all my life. Well, he actually said, "I not always been poor. I'm always be poor. I'm poor now, and that's just the way it is."
Po.
Yeah. How do you get to a mindset where you decide you're gonna live at the lowest level of society when you have the opportunity to rise above? America is the only place, at least it used to be, and I believe it still is, that you can be butt naked and broke today, and a year from now have more money than you ever know what to do with.
Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah,
Tyler Perry is a prime example of that. But I'm glad that you said this because it really hits on an important point. And I'm going to answer your question. How a person can get that comfortable at the lower level. I'm going to answer your question. Now, this is going to be politically incorrect. People not going to like it. Now, keep in mind, I'm not talking about the working poor. Poor. Because, see, the working poor, they get denied a lot of benefits that they could probably use because they work so many hours. So I'm not talking about the working poor now. I'm trying to go down a denomination from the working poor. Let me answer your question. The reason why people can make the statement like, "Oh my God," just the self-defeating statement, it just quenches not only the Holy Spirit, but it quenches my human spirit to hear a person articulate that. I'm gonna tell you why. Because in this country, we've made it too comfortable. We made it too comfortable to be at the lowest tier. You can get on. Let's say you ain't working at all. You can get on the Section 8 housing. You can pay $100 for rent every month. You can get, man, I've known people get $1,000, $1,500 worth of food stamps a month. You see what I'm saying? When you got when you got enough dependents, you can make it happen. And you can lie on the food stamp applications. You can lie on the social welfare. And people have cheated their way into being so comfortable. And Bill O'Reilly, he did a story on this one time about once again, not talking about the working poor, but the class under the working poor and what they have in their homes. Flat screen TVs.
Computers.
Come on now. Because look, every year they get a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 check in the mail from the government. Called the income tax refund. Look, and I've seen people do this. Come on now. And I know you real, and I'm real. You can have a couple that's married, but they'll file like they separate and file head of household at 2 different addresses and split the kids up down the middle. And I seen one get an $8,000 check and the other one get an $8,000 check. And they put it together, that's $16,000 on one hit.
Well, here's the only problem with that.
Come on.
Here's the problem with that, Charles, and it can all come falling down at one time because the government is giving that money to them. And when Obamacare is fully implemented, that's going to drain the coffers of our federal government, and that money will not be coming into various people. And here's what needs to be done. Get a job in the private sector. Nobody can take your income away from you.
It's a gravy train that's coming to an end. I can't get the folks to realize this. You welfare cheats, you food stamp cheats, you tax cheats. Once the money starts drying up, those things are going to start drying up. And then you're going to be mad. But this is what I'm telling you. We have made it too comfortable. It used to be, once upon a time in this country, that the hunger pains will start getting to you. And you'll be like, wait a minute. I got to go do something. If I had to walk down the street, sweep that man's porch, and he give me $5, I got to do something. I have got to get out there. Look, we have robbed a generation of people from that, what I like to call stomach pain incentive. It's stomach pain incentive. Wow. And we have robbed them of that. And this is natural. It goes all the way throughout history, all the way back to the Bible days. And, people say, you want people starving, this, that, and the other. Look, I'm not talking, look, people, if you think a lot of people are starving in this country, you are believing the hype. You believe in the hype. A lot of these stories, a lot of these factoids that people spit out are really made up. It's a hustle going on in Washington, D.C. It's a hustle going on out here. And we've got to, as they say in the world, we got to peep game because it's a hustle going on here. And we have got to restore, and people got on to the Republicans by cutting the food stamps. Mm-hmm. Oh, they cut the food stamps. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, they cut. And you know what? And I'm going to tell you this now. My mama said this. And my mama, she was talking to somebody else. It was her godson, and he was sitting in the house like, why they cut the food stamps like that? And my mama said they need to cut the food stamps because the people that really need the food stamps, the disabled and the elderly, we can't get as much help as we could get because my mama's disabled. Mm-hmm. We can't get as much help as we could get
because the able-bodied.
Because the able-bodied soaking it all up.
Let's hear about your friend, Charles, before we run out of time.
Yeah. I want to tell y'all about my friend here. She made a comment, and her eyes were open. She sent me a message. I'm not going to read much of it, but she was at a meeting where they were discussing the health care plan. She was in there with some elected officials and some bank presidents, and they were having a discussion, and she said that a white lady leaned over to her because my friend is black. And she was obviously a Democrat, and, she leaned over there and just, we're trying to make some positive comments about the health care plan, this, that, and the other. I guess she assumed that my friend supported and voted for Barack Obama. Well, she said that she didn't vote for. She actually didn't vote for Barack Obama. And she agreed with everything that the presenter was saying. The presenter was talking about, some of the bad things about the health care law. But anyway, she said that this opened her mind up, how that a lot of the liberal agenda goes against what she says. They're more lenient when it comes to biblical principles. They're more lenient when it comes to biblical principles. And she said that a lot of black people actually are not for the Democrat Party's principles, but they're too afraid to publicly voice it. Charlotte has made this comment so many times in the past, and she continues to make that comment. There are so many black people that are not in support of what Obama's policies are and what the Democrat Party stands for, but they are, as my friend says here, afraid.
They're afraid
to publicly voice it, but my friend has said she's not afraid.
Well, the Democrats are coming out the people who get off the plantation.
Well, she's off the plantation here. She really never was really on it, but now she says she's going to lend her voice to supporting conservative causes, and so she even asked to get connected with you. So because she
Come on, sister, I'm looking out for you. And I'll tell you what, we need more people to get a backbone.
Don't be scared.
because the gravy train is going to come to an end.
It's coming to an end.
Rather
What's more
than
important
later.
to you, what's right and wrong, or what everybody else says?
Amen. That's so right. We're getting ready to go to break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back to wrap up the show straight down the line with Charlotte and Charles, the real straight talk.
That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free. Now that ain't working. That's the way you do it. Let me tell you, damn guys ain't dumb. Maybe get a pistol on your little finger. Maybe get a pistol on your thumb. We got to install microwave.
I love you, Mom, but I need help.
If your loved one is experiencing dementia, Alzheimer's, or debilitating arthritis and need extra care assistance, call Angelic Visits and Prestige Care Home at 901-388-6903 or 901-281-8292. They render services with love. Give Angelic Visits and Prestige Care Home a call today.
Check us out on the web at angelicvisits.com.
Everyone knows Patrick's has great made-from-scratch home cooking, but when was the last time you thought of Patrick's for dinner?
Whether it's the fresh North Atlantic salmon grilled to order, the hickory smoked apple bourbon pork tenderloin, or the rich and creamy blackened chicken pasta, Patrick's is sure to have something for everyone in your family. Every Friday and Saturday night, they slow roast choice prime rib. Their simple recipe uses quality beef, aged in-house, and yields a succulent treat you won't find anywhere else. Don't wait. Come early before it runs out. Patrick's caters, too. Having an office party, teacher appreciation day, or business luncheon? Let Patrick's do all the work and you take the credit. We'll deliver parties of 20 or more, or you can pick it up. Choose from party platters to our fabulous meats and veggies, and we'll have it hot and ready. Don't see what you want on our menu? Just ask. We cater to almost any need, from weddings and rehearsal dinners to birthday parties and business functions. Check out our menu at patricksmemphis.com or stop by 4972 Park Avenue. Park at Mount Moriah.
Patrick's, where great home cooking is just the beginning.
We don't know much about St. Augustine grass in Florida or Kentucky bluegrass up here in the north. But we know all about Memphis grasses, Bermuda, fescue, and zoysia. And the weeds that infest them. We know every weed and how to kill them. Because Herbisystems has been doing exactly that for over 25 years in Memphis.
Want the real Memphis experts to kill your weeds? Call Herbisystems at 382-LAWN.
Let me kill your weeds.
You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want.
Is it me, or is our liberal producer over there? He seemed to be playing music that's kind of conducive to what I'm talking about. Because you can't always get what you want.
That's not right.
It's true though.
That's not
You
right.
can't always get what you want. It reminds me of my favorite Gerald Ford quote. He says, "A government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take away everything you have." Straight down the line with Charlotte and Charles, the real straight talk. Wrapping up the program, 901-260-5926. If you wanted to get in on the conversation here in the closing minutes, we're here with my co-host Charlotte Bergman, Ulysses Jones the third. He's the third of his name, just like me. And we're in the house right now. We're having a good time. Just, wrapping up the show here. Wanted to get into some final comments. Like, what do y'all want to leave the listeners with today?
I mean, honestly, I really think that people really need to ask a question. You have all these allegiances, race, party, but what are you doing on the basis of right and wrong? Are you making your choices on the basis of right and wrong? Because if you're not, you're really leaving people down a rabbit trail of nowhere. I mean, it's about doing what we can do to set up a better life than we had for our children and for their children and for their children after them. what we're doing now is going totally backwards from that line of thinking, and on the basis of pride, we're setting up things that are going to be detrimental to our future.
I would like to leave the listening audience with this. We live in a great country, the greatest country on this earth. We live in a wonderful city, Memphis, and we've got some great people in the Memphis area. Now, live up to the expectations and standards that God has set for you so that you can have the best life possible. Amen. So that you can influence other people too, because we're not in this by ourselves.
Amen to that. We are not. And, we have to get to the place where, like Charlotte was saying earlier, we got to have a backbone. We've got to stand up and share this conservative message, because it is, as my friend has opened up her eyes to, it is right in line with what the Bible teaches. And so there's no reason, ladies and gentlemen, why a moral people basing their beliefs on Scripture can find their way to support the Democratic Party platform or support the liberal agenda. The Bible teaches don't be a lazy busybody. The Bible teaches if you don't work, you ought not eat. You ought to earn what you eat. The Bible teaches these things. The Bible teaches that from the sweat of your brow, you'll eat bread. This personal responsibility message is rooted in Scripture, even in making a decision for Jesus Christ. It's something that you have to decide, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's not something that God decides for you. You have to come to the conclusion, Lord, I'm a sinner. You have to reach out to God, and God reaches out to you. So this is well-grounded and well-founded in the Bible. And
we were talking about the whole welfare state earlier. The Bible also tells us that if you teach a man to fish, that he eats all of his days, whereas if you give him a fish, he eats for one day. Now, it's perfectly understandable, and that's what conservatism is about. We perfectly understand that people can have hard times, and when they do, you help them out. But this help is not for always. You should be able to stand up and do it yourself. There's an ingenious quote I heard from Thomas Sowell about a week ago that says that when you want to help people, you tell them the truth.
Come on now.
When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear.
Exactly. And that's what politicians are doing, telling people what they want to hear. And yes, the Bible teaches us to be charitable, but that's talking about us giving out of our pockets directly to somebody else. It's not talking about the government taking from some and redistributing it to others. That's not charity. That's tyranny, the opposite of charity. We're wrapping the show up here straight down the line with Charlotte and Charles, the real straight talk. Britt, Glenn, and Brother Hank is coming up.
Make it a great day and go out and help someone else and make Memphis the best city in this nation.
God bless you. God bless America. God bless the city of Memphis.
Amen.
He ain't gonna let those two escape justice. He makes his living